So today, we're diving into a type of knowledge that isn't something you learn from a book. It's something that's said to be experienced directly in the heart. It's called Irfan, and we're going to explore it through the life and words of one of Islam's most foundational figures, Imam Ali.
And just to set the stage here, listen to this from the poet Rumi. You see, Rumi isn't just praising what Ali did. He's pointing to something deeper, right? An inner state, a kind of purity, a total alignment with the truth. And that, right there, is the very core of the knowledge we're about to get into.
Okay, so before we can really wrap our heads around this abstract knowledge, we first have to get a handle on the person who is said to have mastered it. Who exactly was Imam Ali, and why does he hold such a profound place in the hearts of so many across the Islamic world? What's so amazing is how he's this great unifying figure. I mean, think about it. For Sunnis, he's the final of the 4 rightly guided caliphs. For the Shia, he is the very first, the immaculate successor to the Prophet. And for the Sufis, the mystics of Islam, he's pretty much the fountainhead, the source from which almost all of their spiritual lineages trace back.
You know, early Sufi masters like Hujwiri saw him as the complete package, the perfect spiritual guide. But notice the key distinction he makes here. Ali wasn't just a master of the theory, the principles, he was a master of the practice, the endurance of affliction. He truly lived both the intellectual and the deep experiential sides of the path.
And then you get this incredible image from the poet Attar, a coat of armor with no back. Just picture that. Why? Because the very thought of retreating, of turning back, was completely unimaginable. His real protection wasn't steel. It was this absolute, unshakable trust in God. And you can see how that kind of courage could only come from a really deep internal certainty.
So that deep internal certainty we were just talking about? Well, it has a name. It's called Irfan. So what exactly is this special kind of knowledge that Imam Ali is said to be the master of?
Right. So, Irfan is way more than just information or facts. It's a deep, direct, and experiential knowing of the divine. You could compare it to the ancient Greek idea of Gnosis. And the word itself is kind of cool because it refers to both the destination, that profound state of knowing, and the journey you have to take to get there. And this next part? This is absolutely key. Islamic philosophy talks about 2 different types of knowledge. On one hand, you have acquired knowledge. That's like reading in a book that sugar is sweet. Okay, you understand the concept. But then there's knowledge by presence. That's actually tasting the sugar. You don't just think it's sweet, you know it directly. Irfan is the path to tasting that spiritual reality, not just reading the description.
And this path, it's really got 2 sides to it. There's theoretical Irfan, which you can think of as the map. It's the study of all the concepts and theology that comes from these deep spiritual experiences. But then there's practical Irfan, and that is the actual journey. That's putting your boots on the ground and walking the path.
And Imam Ali connected this idea directly to his own life, to his own worship. When somebody asked him if he actually sees God when he's praying, his answer is it's stunning. He said he wouldn't worship a God he couldn't see. Now, of course, he didn't mean with his physical eyes. He explained that it's the heart that does the seeing, but only after it's been polished by faith, until it can perfectly reflect the divine.
So how does a master of knowledge like this actually pass on such a deep, experiential truth? Well, one of the most famous examples comes from this amazing dialogue he had with his student, a man named Kuzmai.
So Kumail comes to him with, the biggest question you can possibly ask. What is the truth? And Imam Ali's first answer is pretty enigmatic. It's not a simple definition. He describes it as an unveiling, a direct revelation of divine glory that's so real it doesn't need any metaphors or signs. It just is. But Kumail, being just like us, he wants more. He asks again, and the next answer goes a step deeper. The truth, Ali says, involves wiping away all the illusion, the imaginary, and just being left with this clear, sober awareness of what is truly real.
Still looking for more clarity, Kumail asks again, and this time the answer is just pure poetry. He describes the truth as this eternal light, a source that illuminates everything and points it all back to one single divine unity.
And one last time, Kumail asks for more. And Imam Ali's final response? This might be one of the most powerful lines in all of mystical literature. He says, "Put out the lamp, for morning has broken." Wow, just think about that. What he's saying is, once you've actually seen the sun come up, what good is a little candle? All these words, these concepts, they're just the lamp. They can point the way. But the real goal is to experience the dawn for yourself.
This famous statement just perfectly captures what comes from that direct experience. It's a state of absolute, unshakable certainty. He's saying that even if every single veil between this world and the next were ripped away, his knowledge wouldn't get any stronger. Why? Because it's already complete.
But if this knowledge is so profound, so amazing, why is it so often described as secret or esoteric? Well, this brings us to let's call it the perilous nature of this legacy.
You know, Imam Ali himself, pointing to his own chest, spoke of the massive amount of knowledge he carried inside, and he lamented how few people actually had the capacity to bear it. Now, this isn't about being elitist, it's a real warning. This kind of knowledge is perilous because it can be so easily and deeply misunderstood by a mind that isn't ready for it, and that could lead to a lot of confusion.
So let's just quickly recap the hallmarks of this path. We've seen that Irfan is a journey from the outward to the inward. It's not a passive thing. It demands real virtue, self-knowledge, and spiritual practices like remembrance and contemplation. The ultimate goal is for a person to become like a mirror for divine attributes, things like mercy and justice. And crucially, the path recognizes that we're all at different places, each with a different capacity to understand these truths.
And all of this leaves us with a final, big question to think about. For the past few minutes, you and I have been using words and concepts and images. Basically, we've been using the lamp that Imam Ali told Kumail to put out. So, if the ultimate goal is the direct experience of the dawn, then what's the real purpose of the lamp? What is the role of language in a journey toward a truth that, in the end, lies beyond words?